The perspectives shared by the participants in this podcast are solely their own and not intended as medical advice. For any health issues, we strongly recommend seeking guidance from a licensed professional.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Rare Realities with Marimo Mimomokhosi, where we dive into the emotional journeys of individuals, where we tell one story at a time. Imagine going to the doctor and coming back with a diagnosis that it can either be cured or now you have to live with it for the rest of your life. Of course, I am not alone. I am with Olebogeng, living with endometriosis. Guys, it's a tongue roller. It shows how complicated it is. Well, I want her to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about herself before we get into the condition. Hi, Olebogeng. Welcome to Rare Realities.
Thank you, Mimo. What an honor to be here. So my name is Olebogeng. It's always such a difficult task to tell people about yourself, but where do I even begin? I'm from Mafikeng in the Northwest Province, and most of my career has been in broadcasting, in television and radio news as a journalist and as a news editor. I now ventured after, I think, 15 years into the communications and PR space, and that's kind of what I do now. I think a lot of my identity is tied to my work because it's really my passion. I love communicating, I love writing, I love telling stories, and it's just been quite difficult to separate what I do from myself because it's kind of works together with my personality, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's a little background about myself. And yes, I find myself here today because I live with the silent killer that is endometriosis.
Okay, please share with us, when did you find out that you had this condition? Before sharing with us, what is this condition?
So, as I mentioned briefly, it is one of those invisible illnesses. It's really a silent killer because not a lot is known about it, and not a lot is spoken, not enough is spoken about it. So endometriosis is a condition where what we call endometrial lining, which is the lining that is on the uterus of a woman, that lines the uterus of a woman. Those cells are supposed to be in the lining, they're supposed to be lining the uterus, but oftentimes or sometimes in other women, they grow elsewhere outside of the uterus. So you can imagine cells that were supposed to be growing in the womb, growing outside of the womb. That is abnormal. And it's an illness that causes in women severe period pains, severe back pain, heavy and prolonged menses or periods, severe fatigue. A lot of women find themselves just tired always and not knowing why they're tired.
Yeah.
They wake up tired, they go to work tired, they sleep tired, and you just can't identify what's the cause of this, and that almost becomes your identity. But it's so tricky in the sense that a lot of symptoms of endometriosis are related to other symptoms. I've just mentioned bad period pains. An ordinary girl or an ordinary woman just thinks period pains are, normal.
Yeah.
A normal part of your menstrual cycle, right? But the moment it becomes severe, the moment it becomes debilitating, the moment you struggle to do your daily duties as a result of it, and the moment it now takes away your peace of mind and it affects your mental health, that's when you know that there's something incredibly wrong.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate part of it is that a lot of us have come to normalize that as just being a part of a woman's life. Oftentimes in school, we'd grow up and young girls have to leave class because they've got heavy period pains. And you just know, Olebogeng is that one that has heavy period. We know her and that's just her life. But that is the abnormal thing about this kind of condition, where it intertwines with kind of daily living so much that it's almost difficult to tell.
Yeah.
So that's what endometriosis is. And in terms of my journey, I didn't even know I was sick. That's why I said initially it's a silent killer and it's invisible. I didn't know I was sick, but what I knew I had from the age of 14 when I started getting my menses was that I had a really heavy flow and I had prolonged periods, like 7 days long, and it was just heavy all throughout the 7 days.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like other girls out here, they had a periods for 3 days, and I'd just be like, what? 3 days?
How does it
That's
feel to be God's
possible?
favorite child?
Yes, clearly God's favorite child. And so that's what I had.
Yeah.
But I had another distinguishing factor that I just also thought was normal. I had this piercing pain on my lower left abdomen. And sometimes it would be so painful that I would limp for a month or weeks on end. I couldn't walk properly. I couldn't stand properly. And as I grew up and I started to understand my body a little bit more, I realized that I would also suffer extreme pain during ovulation period.
Mm-hmm.
And none of that ever occurred to me as if something was wrong, because my mother had this pain as well.
Mm.
She had gone through a laparoscopic kind of operation or procedure to check what it was back in the 90s, but they didn't find anything. And that's why I said it's difficult to diagnose. So when I had it, we probably kind of thought, oh, it's a hereditary thing. Your mother has it, you have it, so there's nothing wrong with it, you know. So I just went to the doctor. I went to the gynae for a normal gynae checkup where you do your pap smear, you maybe have checks for breast cancer cells or things like that. It was just a normal Tuesday, normal gynae checkup. But this was the first time I went to this particular gynae.
Okay.
And when she asked about my periods and my history and just my menstrual cycle, and I told her these details that I've been mentioning, she just like stared at me and said, that's not normal.
Sure.
And I laughed. I was like, of course it's normal. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Because also it's not only me that experiences this. My friends experience them, family experience them, my colleagues experience them. So I'm just like, what do you mean it's not normal? She said, no, there's something fundamentally wrong, because a 7-day period is not normal. Under no circumstances is it normal. That sharp pain on your lower left abdomen is not normal. Even if your mother had it, it's not normal. And we have to get it checked out. And she said to me, you are presenting with symptoms of endometriosis. And I just laughed because I was probably in shock.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure at the same time it was like a relief, or at least finally you now know.
That's the thing. It was validating, because at that point I then got language to identify all of these things that I've been experiencing.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to just go through a thing and you don't even know you're going through it. But when you have the language to describe it, you can investigate how you can get help. And that's how it started with me. And I was then recommended to go through to surgery a few weeks later, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
And that was painful. That was excruciating. And I was just like, ugh. But I never had this thing.
Yeah.
So why did I suddenly have to go through this painful thing to remove something that I didn't even know I had? But the thing is that there's a danger in not knowing that you have it, because it causes severe damage in your body and you don't know. And by the time you get to realize, it may be too late. Endometriosis can lead to cervical cancer. It leads directly to infertility. So it can affect your future and you don't even know. So in retrospect, I felt like it was actually good that I went through the surgery, because now those cells were removed at the time. All the cells that had been growing. In fact, they discovered that I had between stage 2 and stage 3 endometriosis. Stage 4 is the last. So you can see how close I was to having severe endometriosis.
So the stage that you were at, what does that mean?
It means it was growing at a significantly alarming rate in my body.
Mm-hmm.
And it means that if it had been left untreated, we could possibly be talking about a case of cervical cancer, or we could possibly be talking about a case of definite infertility.
Yeah.
And all of these other symptoms that I mentioned, so chronic fatigue, heavy period flows, painful cramps, exhaustion, all of those were going to be escalated now to, in fact, they had already been escalated to a higher degree. It's just that I had been used to living with them. And then I thought, it's just how my body is, or it's just normal.
So what do they do during surgery? And does the now surgery, because I think you mentioned earlier on that it's not curable. Is it to prevent it from getting worse?
So surgery, yes, is to remove the endo that is, they call it endo in short. It's to remove the endo that has grown, because it can grow beyond the woman's reproductive organs if it's left unremoved. It can go through your lungs, can go up to your stomach, it can go to your heart and all your vital organs. So it had to be removed so that it is contained. And then, so that's what happened during the surgery. They were removing those cells that were now starting to spread elsewhere in my body. And then I was then put on a medication. It's an everyday pill for 30 days called Vizan that you take every single day, which is a chronic pill. So I'll have to take it for the rest of my life. That, what it does is that it stops the endo from developing.
From growing.
So
from starting?
Well, from growing. Initially, isn't it?
It's always there.
It's removed. Yeah, but it's always there.
Okay.
So they'll stop it from growing.
Oh, okay.
Right? But what the medicine does, because so I think I heard somebody say somewhere that every medication that we take to stop a certain symptom is creating a new symptom.
We can't win.
No, there's no winning.
We can't win.
So what it does is that because the component of the chemicals that are in it, or the drugs that are in it, in the pill, it affects, it stops you from going on your menstrual cycle.
Oh, okay.
Which means you don't...
Does it act as some sort of contraceptive?
It also does.
Okay.
It's not a contraceptive, but because it stops you from going on your menstrual cycle, it stops you from ovulating.
Oh. Okay.
Which means then you can't conceive. So...
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it does relieve you from the pain. Because I've tried... Because I was like, I'm not going to depend on medication.
Yeah.
I'm a strong woman. I've tried to not use it. If you have the surgery and the endo is removed and then you don't take the medication, you're bleeding nonstop. You're not just bleeding for 7 days. You're bleeding nonstop, and it's severe cramps and it's severe exhaustion. It's severe everything. So you have to take the meds in order to stop these symptoms. But then you're creating something else on the other side.
Yeah.
And I must say that it's not this specific medication that I'm on. It works for me, but it doesn't always work for all the women because bodies are different. So it's not like a standard thing that, if you have endo and you take Vizan, you're going to be healed. It's a good medication for me and probably many other women. But I remember having a conversation with another woman who actually said for her, the meds actually exacerbated her condition. She became worse and she had to try alternative ways of healing and all sorts of other treatments just to try and contain this thing. So it's a really complex disease.
You can't really win.
No, there's no winning. I think the winning is in that now you know what you're dealing with and you can start seeking answers in terms of how to treat it. And you can take care of your body more. Because what we're also not aware of is that the foods that you eat impact severely on your condition if you have endometriosis. So I mean, you can imagine, just as an ordinary person, an ordinary girl, woman, I grew up eating bread and loving bread. Bread is like a staple. But what I didn't know was that bread was harming me because it's got gluten. And I can't eat anything that has gluten in it.
Ew.
And so that's number one. There's things like your normal pasta, rice. The majority of the carbs that we live on, I can't eat.
So you need to change your whole diet.
You need to change your whole lifestyle. And the thing about that is that it is costly as well. The pills that I just mentioned, even though they are dispensed to tackle a chronic illness, the medical aid system in South Africa don't consider it a chronic medicine. So you can't even get that discount that often medical aids will discount a person that's on chronic medicine.
Yeah.
You can't, because that particular pill is not recognized as a treatment for chronic medication, even though the gynecologist dispenses it to us for the chronic illness that we have. So it's very expensive. That's another thing. So in changing your lifestyle, you're not just changing your food.
Yeah.
You're changing, you have to pay for this medication. And it's also not all the pharmacies. Your most trusted pharmacies in the country often don't have
that particular
this particular med. And you have to be looking all over the place for this particular, and you constantly have to have it. If you see that, okay, I'm left with a week to complete, you have to order another pack, because you will struggle. You will not survive without your next pack. And that impacts severely on your pocket as well, for something that you didn't even, you didn't see coming.
Yeah.
It's now your new reality. It's now your new rare reality.
Yeah, exactly.
And you just have to find ways to mitigate. And yeah, so that's where a lot of us find ourselves with this kind of illness.
Like, it's so sad just listening to you, and I'm picking up how we as girls, it's like the importance of just sharing what we go through on a normal basis. I mean, even back in primary or high school, I remember when we started like our periods, we'd share as to, I go for like so many days and whatnot. And I remember back in primary, nothing happened. High school, I started late with my periods. And I used to like go for like 7 days, like you're saying, like ridiculous cramps. And I used to, because I was in so much pain, I would throw up those 7 days, And obviously, because I grew up with having like complications, we thought, this might be the reason, and obviously we focus on the main thing. And I went and I got a Mirena to stop my periods and to stop, because I was like heavy on overflow. But now when I think about it, is how we just talk and we think, oh my God, it's normal. And when you have like 3 days, you're like, that is
the abnormality.
Even when you're the chosen one. We think you're the chosen one. Instead of just going to go see a gynecologist and finding out, why am I going through this? We're like, and you know how sometimes when we have a conversation on like women's health, and sometimes we get advice that, don't worry, after having a baby, it's going to go away. You're not going to experience. And now we are pushed to doing something that might even cause something
else,
bigger, even bigger. So with you, I'm sure it was quite emotional to now having to not wanting to go on a medication, but now not going, that it might cause like more complications and something that might lead to you not having kids.
Yeah, it is. It does cause it does have a lot of emotional weight because it does play on your mental health. For example, with me, because I was so focused on my career, I had made a conscious decision not to have children, or at least in the foreseeable future.
Okay.
It just was not a priority of mine.
Yeah.
And I was deliberate about that.
Mm.
But if I tell you, the moment I got this diagnosis, it just kind of changed my reality in my head, in the sense that it was nice to have the option. Do you want to have children or do you not want to have children? And if I said I didn't want to at the time, I could always change my mind later. But now you're confronted with a disease that says, you don't really get to choose.
I choose for you.
And that, for me, that was the most difficult thing, because here's this ideal that I had always believed in, that I had lived by. No children for me, my career first. I will have children maybe later. Once I feel like my career is where I want it to be. And then to be hit with actually, you might need to decide now, because you're running against time now. Now you've got an illness that's eating you up inside and affecting your fertility. So do you not want to reconsider your position of not having children anymore? And that was really difficult for me. It still is. It's still something that I think about a lot, because I was just thrown with this thing.
Exactly. Don't you feel like as much as we're not getting any younger, but you still feel like, yes, you have time, but you don't have time.
Yes. No, now for me, it's just like here in my face that not only do I not have time, because I mean, as a woman, the quality of your reproductive system sort of deteriorates over time. So I'm running against that. And then I've got this new addition to my body that's also saying, well, you might want to have children now. Otherwise, I also have a chance to stop you from having children. So now you are confronted with questions that you've never had to confront yourself about. And that was, I think, for me, the biggest stressful part about it. Deciding, am I changing all of my plans about my life? Do I suddenly want to have children? Do I not? Anymore? The ability for me not to choose anymore. I feel like my choice has been taken away from me. And the predictability of life. Anything can happen to me at any time. I can eat something that I don't know has something that's wrong. Today, and it will affect me majorly tomorrow. Because every time you eat something that endo does not like, you cause inflammation, and that inflammation actually causes scarring in your reproductive system, causes scarring in your ovaries, in your uterus. That scarring is often what people say when people say, oh, one of her tubes were blocked. She couldn't conceive because her tubes were blocked. It was due to prolonged scarring over a period of time. So you start realizing that, oops, it's not entirely in my hands anymore.
And it's not.
Yeah. Well, in the bigger scheme of things, it never really is. But I mean,
it's never. I don't even understand why we have to deal with it, because we're just the carrier in that instant, because we can't even do anything about it.
Yeah. And I think for me, what's also worse is the misinformation that's out there, the disinformation. You spoke about somebody saying, no, after childbirth, it'll be fine. Even in my case, I think one of the grannies said that pain just needs, it needs weight. If you can just put something, if you can just put something there. Yes. So I think at this stage, for me, and why I like to create awareness about this illness is because so many lives can be changed, because there's a lot of unlearning to do. We grew up learning so many of these things that are actually not facts.
True.
But because we did not have information, and if things were being spoken by somebody that's elderly, with the limited knowledge that they too have, it was easy for us to believe. And I think it's easier to learn than to unlearn something that you've been accustomed to. And I think that's one of the biggest tasks for me. I mean, I'm not a pro in endometriosis. Every day I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's important to speak. Like you say, it's important to share between us as women. This thing of, oh no, private, your womb is a private thing. It kills us a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I did one conversation somewhere else, and one of the people that watched it were like, why would you bare your life like that so publicly? And I'm like, you see, there's still shame. There's still a level of shame in speaking about our reproductive systems and organs, especially as women.
Yeah.
Because women must just, there's historically just been this thing that women must suffer alone and in silence, because when we come from wherever, our hiding corner, you must be the strong mbokot, or you must bear children, have a career, clean, be educated, have a PhD, run a podcast, the rest, do your hair. Like, it's just a lot.
Yeah.
And we just have to accommodate all of these roles, play all of these roles. And when you put yourself out there for the sake of creating awareness, it's still not as well received as you would have thought, or as you would have liked, because there's still a lot of stigma around women's bodies.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of, dare I say, control around women's bodies. And that's one of those things that we have to unlearn as a people, as women, as a society.
What people don't understand is that when one person shares their story, the next person, you'll never know who it reaches. The next person might be dealing with the same thing for years and they never knew how to go about. And the next person, we might be pushing the next person to actually go and get tested, and they might find whatever either on time or if it's late, but at least you would have assisted in them being aware of something that they
otherwise wouldn't have.
They wouldn't have,
And that's why these kind of conversations and these platforms that give a voice to people, to women, are really important.
Yeah.
Because it's not just, it can't be for fun to come and speak about the most difficult parts of your life.
Yeah.
But if it can touch somebody's life, if it can influence somebody, if it can just make somebody take notice. And it's not just for women as well.
It's
for the men that we live with, right? Our fathers, our brothers, our partners. Because a lot of the times you just find a person say, she's so moody. Oh, she's always tired. Oh, she's always sleeping. But a person may find themselves watching a conversation like this and actually get to pick up, maybe she needs support.
Yeah.
Maybe she needs to go to the doctor. So it's really important. It's also important for our employers. Because, as affected as we are by these illnesses, we still have to show up to work. And we still have to show up with the same level of professionalism as everybody else. And the stressful part about an illness like endometriosis is that you look normal. You look so healthy on the outside. But internally you are suffering. Your body is just pulling itself in all sorts of directions. You are bleeding heavily, but you have to show up. And I think even in corporate spaces or wherever we work, it's about time that we start having these conversations so that we are aware, and so that there's no silence in what we're going through.
Yeah.
The issue of even just women being on their periods at work or at school is just like, ooh, it's a taboo. But it's not.
Yeah.
We all have women in our lives. We have mothers, we have sisters, we have siblings, we have friends and colleagues. It's time we spoke honestly and openly about this, because it's for the good of everyone.
Yeah.
If I am healthy, rest assured, or if I'm understood at work, I'm going to deliver at my optimum because I'm given support. I'm recognized, like I'm being seen, you know. Unlike if I'm suffering alone and pretending that I can do all of this work and I can do all of this magic, but you as my line manager or as my employer is unaware, you know. So I think, yeah, it's really important. Creating awareness is really important.
Yeah.
It's not just for women. It's primarily with this kind of disease for girls and women.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's for all of us.
Yeah.
Because we all need that support.
True. I think in most cases, when it comes to like your workplace, people find it hard to disclose what they are living with, because in most cases, employers would make it seem as if you are not fit to work. You know, so I guess it's hard to...
Yeah, it is a thin line because you also want to prove, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that women have to live with.
Always want to prove
Yes.
ourselves. Oh God.
That's the thing. You constantly want to prove that you can rise through the ladder and you can do these wonderful things.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can. It's not that you can't, but you've got a condition that if given enough space, if given understanding, if, for example, today you can do work, but it's really difficult to travel to work. If somebody can just say work from home today, then you're still able to kind of navigate your illness and still produce at work. So, and I think it's about removing that stigma, because ultimately women and men don't have the same bodies.
Nope.
And we're never going to function the same because we don't have the same bodies.
Yeah.
And it's time we open spaces and held safer spaces for people, men or women.
Yeah.
You know, because if we support each other, I feel like in my case, I was really fortunate because I have a very strong support system around me. And that is also one of the things that have just, you know, held me up. And I was able to rise from this thing and say, you know what, okay, if I have to take meds, I have to do this. I before I went to do the surgery, I used to go to the gym 6 days in a week, and I was so committed. I was just about, my health is there. And my coach at the gym said, forget a little bit about losing all the weight. Let's focus on this thing. When you're healed, because that after a month after the surgery, I was there doing yoga. Was I sick? And my coach was like, excuse me, what are you doing?
What were you doing? Because you even mentioned that the surgery was like quite painful.
Yeah, because I couldn't wait to get back into my life. And I think that's what we don't realize. Once something like this, of this momentum happens in your life, you can't live your old life.
Yeah.
You have to change your life. So it was good for me to have somebody that said, weight loss is not important right now. You want to look great, yes, but how are you going to look great when you're not sick, when you're not well? We can come back to you losing the weight.
Yeah.
My mother drove from the Northwest and came to fetch me and said, okay, you're going to recover at home. You're not going to be alone in Joburg recovering. So it's also important. If I hadn't spoken to anyone, told anyone anything, I would have just suffered in my misery all by myself.
Yeah. But does it play a role in weight gain, do you think?
No, I actually think it's the adverse. The only time where I noticed the weight gain was because now I was on this new meds, and you really have to eat before you take new medication, and you have to heal. You have to allow yourself or your body the time to heal. I accumulated the weight then because I was eating a lot and not exercising.
Okay.
But when I say I think it's the adverse in that it doesn't, well, in my case, it didn't contribute a lot to weight gain, was because now I started looking at the kind of foods that I eat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I started knowing that it's actually now very crucial for me to exercise. I started watching my sleep patterns because it also affects your sleeping patterns. So it made me more aware of my body and what I had to do to take care of my body. But I must say, I did gain a lot of weight then. I think I gained about 20 kgs while I was waiting for my body to recover. And I haven't shared all of that weight, but weight loss is not as much of a priority to me as opposed to being healthy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't take care of my body to lose weight now, which is what I did then. It's not about looking sexy only.
Yeah.
But it's about your body actually needs this to live and to be healthier and for you to be able to do your work and to perform optimally at the career that you so love, So your priorities kind of do change.
Yeah. And then do you know if, let's say, for instance, you fall pregnant, can be early stages of endometriosis or the late stages, are there chances that it will affect the baby, like you might miscarry?
Because the baby talk was never really my talk, I haven't delved into that. What I know, however, is that if I want to conceive right now, I need to go back to my gynecologist and say, okay, I have decided that I want to have a child now. And they will stop this treatment that I am on and give me a different treatment that will allow me or help me to conceive. Because isn't it now I'm not ovulating, so I can't conceive. Yeah. So they'll give me meds that will allow me to ovulate at the same time treating the endometriosis. So that I have a chance at both. I have a chance at getting pregnant, but I also have a chance at killing the endo.
Yeah. At least then they're like hope. There is
hope. But I've also heard stories that it wasn't my story, which is why maybe I don't want to dwell a lot on it. I think I've heard stories from 2 women that it contributes a lot to a difficult pregnancy.
Yeah.
And especially when it's undiagnosed, because people just think you have a difficult pregnancy. And once again, it's one of those things that some women go through. Oh, her pregnancy was so difficult. And she's also dealing with a thing. One of the women once told me that, she almost lost her life or the life of her baby during childbirth. But they were not aware that they had endometriosis.
Yeah.
So the sooner a woman is aware, the better. Whether you're going to plan to have a child or not. If you're not aware and you have it, it's definitely killing your body. It's definitely causing some form of damage in your body. And you can imagine if your body is not healthy, regardless of what illness it is, putting a pregnancy now inside it becomes even more riskier for you, for your life, and for the life of that little baby that you'd be carrying. So I think it does. I just don't have the particular details because I myself haven't gone through it.
No, I get you. And then what would you say has been the worst discovery since you're diagnosed and the best thing that you've taken from the diagnosis?
I'll start with the best thing that I've taken from the diagnosis. Pain is not normal. The moment your body or the pain that you feel in your body is so severe that it's starting to affect parts of your life, you need to take cognizance of that. We as women, we've been told that we are so strong, we can withstand anything. Especially if we can withstand childbirth, we can withstand anything. And what I learned is that no, pain is not normal. It is not. I don't care if it's a little pain, it's a little sharp here, whatever. It's your body indicating to you that something is wrong. Take notice. And the worst thing, I think it's that thing that I spoke about with having to do with infertility, where I felt like, do I not have a choice? That it was definitely the worst. But just how it also affects the quality of your relationships. It does. we may not think so,
Yeah.
but it does affect the quality of your relationships, because today you could be telling yourself that you're going to that wedding with your friend, or you're going to participate in whatever with your family, and then you wake up and you're just so sick.
You can't even get out of bed.
You can't get out of bed. But when they call you or they video call you, you look as normal as you and I. So are you lying? Don't you? Did you not want to come to my thing?
Yeah.
So that, and just the mental health part of it really does play on your mental health. And you ask yourself about your future. And if the moment you feel a little cramp, you're like, it's causing more scarring.
Sure.
It's causing more damage. But I feel like there's also a bit of hope to the story, because it's not all doom and gloom. I feel like when you know, then you can make different choices about your life.
Yeah.
Instead of being ambushed by a thing that you didn't know. So I always advocate for knowing. But also, I want to be sensitive a lot of the times. It's so easy and quick to judge. Oh, but why don't you go to the doctor? Why don't you go to the gynae? It costs about 3,000 rand to see a gynae in one appointment. And not all of us have the privilege of doing that.
True.
And this is a very difficult disease to diagnose. So you can't just go to your GP and get diagnosed. You can't go to a clinic and get diagnosed. Some gynaes can't even diagnose endometriosis.
You need like a specialist.
You need a proper specialist in this particular thing. And so, you err on the side of caution, but you still want to just make sure that you create some form of awareness.
Yeah.
Because when you have answers, something changes. In fact, it can change everything.
Sure.
So I don't look at it as this big bad cloud of the thing that has happened to me, because even before it, I had always been advocating for kind of women's health things.
Yeah.
And now I felt like I can talk about something that I know. It's one thing to speak about endometriosis after I read it somewhere in the book or on the internet, or after another woman has shared with me. But it's totally another to know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's very personal. So I feel like at a certain point, it's aligned with the purpose that I have I'm here to serve. If it's about using my body to teach others, then that's probably what it is. And I have come to be one with it. I have come to accept it.
Yeah.
And there's no way I can then keep quiet.
True.
Because potentially I can make a difference in somebody's life.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I just know that it is going to reach the right people, and women that are living with the condition who are now willing to take a step forward to have their women health checked. And even myself, I've learned so much, because I didn't even know what the condition is really about. Like you said, there's so much misinformation going around. I mean, you wake up and one person says they've got a cyst on their ovary, they've got this, they've got that. All these things are linked to one thing, one place, but they're so different. Yeah, they're so different. So I really appreciate you for sharing your story and coming to Rare Realities. Hopefully, you will get better, and with the pain as well. I love what you said. We should stop making pain normal. Not really this thing, I think how we were brought up. Why for it to hurt us.
For it to hurt us.
For it to hurt us. So everything has just been like, pain is okay. No, pain is not okay.
Women must endure pain.
Yeah.
Especially women. There's this thing that women must endure pain. But thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful It's been my singular honor to have this conversation. It's a very important one that I don't take lightly. And if I can just add, yellow is the awareness color for endometriosis, and the awareness month for endo is March. Yeah, so that's just, if in March you see people wearing yellow and yellow ribbons, then okay, they're creating
I'll
awareness.
be wearing yellow.
Yay!
The whole of March going forward. Thank you so much. Until next time. Bye.